I want to start off with the drone incursion we saw in Denmark. It seemed, because we talked last time when there was a drone incursion over Poland. I think afterwards there was one in Romania, and we saw the incursion of a Russian jet over Finland, I think it was, or Estonia, and now we've got the drone incursion over Denmark. I would love to get your thoughts on all incursions, and mainly focusing on today's one.
I have talked with my trusted sources in the intelligence community. There have been no provocative incursions by the Russians at all. The 19 drones that were found on the ground when they crashed or ran out of steam, whatever it was, many of them had Polish and Swedish SIM cards in them. So they may have been Russian at some point, but were ultimately repurposed and then through other means sent into Polish airspace as a false flag. The report from Denmark is very suspicious. Those 3 drones, there is no evidence that they have any connection whatsoever to Russia. None. As far as the aircraft violating Estonian airspace, it flew along what we call the air defense identification zone. There was no intention to violate anything. The Russians have been scrupulously careful not to give people in the West an excuse to start a war. That's bottom line, because the Russians do not want a war with NATO or the United States. So I would forget all of them as false flag attempts or erroneous reports.
Would NATO members lie to each other about such simple things? Would the Nordic countries be able to lie? Poland be able to lie to the US?
I think there is a conspiracy to lie, to create the illusion that there is a dangerous, offensive Russia that is determined to make war on the West. That's just one enormous lie. And we're reaching a point now where the European publics in particular are concluding that Russia doesn't present the threat as is alleged. And the globalist governments in places like France, Germany, and Great Britain, we're talking about the 3 amigos, Starmer, Macron, and Merz, are on very thin ice right now. They're close to being removed from office. You have genuine revolutionary action brewing, certainly in Britain and France. And I wouldn't rule it out over the long term in Germany. So I think they're quite desperate because the worst thing that can happen to them is that everybody finally concludes that they haven't been telling the truth, which is increasingly the case, that they're an oppressed electorate because free speech has been robbed of them. So I think they're going to do whatever they can to try and provoke, prolong, push this Ukrainian war myth that Russia wants to attack the West. It doesn't.
Trump put out a post. He said the following: after getting to know and fully understand the Ukraine-Russian military and economic situation, and after seeing the economic trouble it is causing Russia, I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form. With time, patience, and the financial support of Europe, and in particular NATO, the original borders from where this war started is very much an option. Why not? Massive shift. Now, I do understand Trump's strategy is to always speak a big game. Does not mean that what he's saying is something he genuinely believes that it is realistic. But one cannot deny it is a pretty significant shift in the strategy. What was your initial reaction when you saw this?
Well, 2 things. First of all, he's now made the transformation from being Donald Trump to Joe Biden number 2. That's the first part. Joe Biden never knew what was going on either. I'm not sure President Trump does. He certainly never looked carefully into the war that was ongoing and how it got started and why. I think this is also an abdication on his part of leadership. Here's the president of the United States who is supposed to be leading NATO. And he has said, look, we'll sell you all the equipment you need. Well, first of all, that presumes the Europeans can afford to buy it. That's not exactly clear right now. They've got serious fiscal constraints on them. Secondly, it presumes that we're going to have all of this equipment, particularly missiles, radars, and other things, ready to go at a moment's notice. We're way behind in our production. We're not like Russia. Russia's factories are humming. They have an excess of equipment and capability, frankly, that we don't possess. And then finally, he's saying, I've decided to sit this out. This is your war. You can do what you want with this, and we wish you all the best. Good luck. What? This is the man who claims to be the leader of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, more than 32 members, and he's effectively saying, "Hey, here it is. Go and do what you think is best, but I'm sitting it out." What kind of a message is that to send to the alliance? You know, Orban spoke recently, Prime Minister Orban in Hungary, and he said, "Don't bother going to Washington." He was speaking to his fellow European Union members, as well as NATO. He said, "Don't bother going to Washington. If you want to end this war, you need to go to Moscow. We need to realign ourselves and sort through this." And I think he's right. I mean, if anything, Donald Trump is signaling, well, Europe, you're pretty much on your own. And there's this notion of I'm transactional. I'm Donald Trump. You pay me money, I'll do what you want. I mean, all of this is, from my standpoint, not very flattering to the United States of America or its leadership. So the whole idea that he's dedicated or devoted to ending the war has gone away. If anything, he's saddled up with Joe Biden. Yeah, let's keep this going. Russia's a paper tiger. Russia is an impregnable fortress. The Russian military establishment is better now than it's been in 30, 40 years. It's excellent, and it's broken the code on the future paradigm of warfare. We haven't. We're a long way from all of these things. Europeans, there's no way they're going to get anywhere. Ukraine, they're herding people in their 50s and 60s, along with women when they can find them, into uniform to go be killed at the front. This is over. This is a disaster. It's a catastrophe. Ukraine as a nation state is destroyed. He should be interested in ending this conflict, recognizing the facts on the ground, which is something he talked about months ago. But, you know, this is Donald Trump, who's just shrugged his shoulders and say, well, okay, I've got other things, so good luck. We'll sell you whatever we want. Now let's turn our attention to Venezuela.